tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut, and it brought up the big topic of gun control. And of course, anytime we're talking about law or politics or anything like that, we invite our political analyst from PruneJuiceMedia.com. Matt Stevens is in the building.
How are you, sir?
I am just after today. My goodness. I think a lot of people are just sick to their stomach watching the news today with the
Yeah.
recent tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut. But the big topic that everyone's talking about. People are saying put more metal detectors in schools. There need to be stricter gun control laws. What is the big issue with gun control, Matt? That for those that don't understand the reason why people are saying there needs to be more gun control laws. What's the big issue?
Well, gun control is really weird because it's one of those topics. It's like a chicken and egg situation.
Mm-hmm.
Which comes first?
Mm-hmm.
The Second Amendment allows us to the right to bear arms,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we see the devastating effects, like today, and so many other tragedies before this. Of even on a smaller scale, of what can happen when guns get in the hands of the wrong people. So it's it's just one of those arguments. You have the people that are for it, you have the people that are against it, and somewhere in the middle, hopefully, there will be some type of resolution. Because days like today shouldn't have happened. It's obviously horrifying to watch, and we know that there's something that has to be done about it. But I think, really, as an American people, we don't know where to start.
Mm, most definitely. But the big thing, some people the big debate was saying, there needs to be, it's not about gun control, it's more about protecting children in schools. So there should be security, there should be metal detectors. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I have known some schools that have metal detectors, and they work, I guess, to a fault. But you take a day like today. Okay, so if you had metal detectors in schools, the shooter was the son of one of the teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and so how do you kind of work around that? How would you how would you work a metal detector into that situation if obviously the teacher was friendly with the shooter and was her son,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what if so you have these guns or whatever. So if they don't shoot them in the school, then they may shoot them on the way home from school. It's like you can't over police everything
Mm-hmm.
to the point where you can't put a metal detector at every point in someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, at some point, you've got to attack the root of the problem, which is
Mm-hmm.
which are the guns themselves. The question then becomes, where do we do that? And
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really the hard thing. And days like today, like I said, it just shows that it's so sad. I know I can't even wrap my mind around it. So
Gun control. A lot of people, want a better understanding. Is that a state thing or a federal thing?
gun control would probably be at it would probably be at the federal level if it was enacted, because obviously, like the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is a federal department.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's why you've heard a lot of calls today about the president and Congress acting. There could be some type of sweeping federal program. The Brady bill that came, which was named after um, I think it was a gentleman that was shot when Ronald Reagan was shot back in 1981,
Mm-hmm.
and he was paralyzed. That was a gun control bill. That was a federal level bill. So yeah, that type of legislation, I think the most effective version of it would come from the federal government.
Okay. If you guys just tuned in, of course, is Matt Stevens from PruneJuiceMedia.com. We're talking about gun control, but anytime Matt comes here, we talk about politics in general. Um,
Mhm.
President Obama gave a very heartfelt, I don't even know, statement, I guess we can call it,
Yeah, yeah.
today. And it's probably one of the very rare times that we've seen a president be so open and transparent about
hmm
the way he was feeling. Um, do politically, what do you think this could mean for when it comes to gun control and the future of there being some sort of stricter mandates in regards
hmm
to gun control?
Well, this is definitely a moment where the president can shine in his second term. And, it's so, I don't want to talk about this in a way that in any way takes away from what happened or the victims or the, those affected. I know you don't want to either. But I do think that this is a moment where his administration and Congress, too, because they're ultimately the ones that are going to make the laws. I think that this is a moment where all of them can work together and step up and enact some type of legislation. This is something, in his term, we've seen Aurora. We just saw, what was it, Clackamas out in Oregon earlier this week. Now we have, this Connecticut shooting and other mass shootings during his term. And so people are really going to be looking, because the news is going to be focused on this for the next couple of weeks. People are really going to be looking in the second term and trying to see what is he going to do. And so I hope that at some point in the second term, in the next couple of weeks, as Congress comes back in January, that they're going to really sit down in a bipartisan way and look at gun control and look and see how they can start to get that conversation going and start to, to be honest with you, Kemp, they're not going to be able to take all the guns off the street. They're not going to be able to, legislate something that has been in the Constitution really, for a couple of centuries now. But they're going to have to start somewhere. Obviously, these shootings are happening more and more, and we as Americans shouldn't have to live in fear like this. Our children shouldn't have to live in fear, most of all. So, our lawmakers hopefully can see this as a wake-up call and really see this as a moment that this is their moment, not that they can step up and it looks good for them or their party, but that they really have to step up. This is their job. This is what we elected them to do, and this is what needs to be done. Otherwise, we need to find somebody else who can get in office and do the job that we need them to do. This is where real leadership happens.
And I think it's really important to what you said. It's not going to solve the problem, 100%. But there definitely needs to be a discussion. There definitely needs to be some sort of more restrictions, because we hear in certain states you can get access to a gun like you get access to candy, which is kind of scary.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't own a gun. I'm really not fond of having them in my home or anything like that. But you can get them like candy. Teenagers can get guns, young adults, and it's like going to get a driver's license, or if you're obviously if you're getting them off the the legal market, it's even easier to do it. It's just it shouldn't be that easy. It shouldn't be that easy, because in countries where they don't have that kind of access to guns, they don't have these kinds of mass shootings. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen anywhere, but I find it very ironic that those types of shootings happen here in America, because we are the ones that have the out-of-control gun problem. And now, anytime somebody wants to solve a problem, where do they go? They're reaching for a gun. Now you have their concealed carry permits, and states like Michigan just passed concealed carry law. I think it was like in schools or different places like that where you can carry a gun in those places. Just yesterday they passed that, and then look what happened today.
Wow.
So it's just. I didn't catch the first part of the show, but I can't say that enough. I'm just so outdone by what happened today. Just
most definitely.
Wow.
Most definitely. I definitely think this isn't a conversation that needs to continue to happen, both on the level of citizens of the world talking about it, but also definitely politically, our legislature needs to talk about it as well.
And this is also where. We talked about when we were doing the segments a few weeks ago leading up to the election. This is where people like me and you and your listeners also, this is our job too, because those legislators work for us. And so it's our job not to just vote them in office and hope that all goes well for the next 2 to 4 years, but it's our job to also stay on top of them. So this needs to be an issue still in February, still next July, a year from now, whenever, because we, the people, we're running the show. And so we've got to hold them accountable to make the kind of legislation that we need them to make at this point.
Most definitely. Matt, so I mean, I wish we could solve this problem within our segment, but
I
it
know.
definitely it's a definitely a larger conversation that we need to have, and it's definitely not just about guns; it's about people and why people
Hmm.
do what they do, and
Right.
hopefully with this platform and many other platforms, we'll be able to continue this discussion and pray for the world. But Matt,